Well, they were the king and the queen of the castle. It used to be just the queen of the spring, but now it's the queen and the king, and the king of the castle, Adrian Bott. What an amazing spring carnival for the Waterhouse Bott stable.
Yeah, no, delighted with the results down there. We obviously went down there with a few targets in mind, and took our horses through the grades down there. Took them down nice and early. Having the Melbourne stable down there full time sort of really helps that. And they were nice progressive types that we identified early, and we had some nice targets for them over the carnival. We're fortunate enough that it all fell into place and worked out well.
There was a lot of great wins, but I said to you off before we got on the camera, I said I thought the best win of the whole spring was Pinot. I couldn't believe she could be slow away in the Oaks, work, and then when Blake Shin took off, I think it was Lola Via, and I said, oh well, I said, it's gone, the favourite's gone. And Pinot found three. What a win.
Yeah, it certainly was. Personally, that was probably the most satisfying win out of the carnival, you know, on so many different levels and so many different fronts. But yeah, just the run itself was phenomenal. When you go back and watch it, I think it just got more impressive each time I watched it, you know. So exciting filly for her to do all that and still come out on top.
Where she's gone for a well-earned break?
Well-earned break, come back for the Oaks here in the autumn.
Savapinski, big step up, won the matriarch.
Yeah, look, just been crying to get her out to that sort of distance. You know, she's bred to get that sort of trip. Been holding it back at the mile, the shorter distances in the provincials. We knew she had plenty of upside. It was just we had to take our time getting into where we knew she could get to, and she got there on the grand final day and delivered.
What was that, Satu? He won a couple over the spring.
She did. You know, she was very unlucky here in the gym crack making a debut. She jumped from a wide gate, sat I think 3 wide on speed. Was only nabbed late by a nose. Took her down to Melbourne. She ran a nice English bonus race, and then went on and won the 2-year-old fillies race down the straight. So she's gone out, come back and prepare for the slipper.
Of all those that were good performances, I left out the performance of the carnival. Your mate S. Basta.
He's the man, Basta, isn't he? He's had a great carnival for us. He's a bigger part of the team than anyone down there. So huge thanks to Steve. But he deserves all the success he's getting at the moment because he is putting in the hard yards, working well, and biggest thing, just a great bloke to deal with, isn't he? You know, like nothing phases him. He gets on well with Gale, gets on well with myself, and very easy going.
Now you got to get a horse for the Everest next year, and you got to get a horse for the Melbourne Cup, but also you got to have a few other winners in between.
Yeah, no, preparations start now, so we're looking forward to the Cup next year.
Well, let's get stuck into it. We'll find a few winners this weekend for the punters. Friday night, Canterbury. Get out to Canterbury. All those food stalls there. I know a couple of people just go to the food stalls, watch the first race, and then go home.
They're brilliant. I've tried a couple yet, but I've still got a few to go.
I'd burn a hole when I got home. That Indian one on the corner. I didn't need to have a shave the next morning. What about Friday night, the first night? You got China, Gale and Zeppelin. Small field, and both chances?
Yeah, both chances. China Gale looking to get out to this sort of trip.
He raced here on Cup Day.
Here on Cup Day. Still learning, still putting it all together. As I said, the step up and trip helps. He's on pace, rolls forward. So, in the smaller fields, you've got to like those sort of tactics. Zeppelin raced on the same day here in the 1800 metres. He got perfect run in transit, ducked back to the inside, looked to sprint well, and you thought he might have had them covered, but probably just peaked on his run a little bit late. So, maybe suggesting
better back to the 15-50.
Yeah, probably didn't quite get the trip, so back to the 15-50. Raced well previously at Canterbury last start, or prior to that start, so he's going well.
Split him?
Look, probably a leaning towards Zeppelin.
The third, 1200, Maid Marilyn.
Maid Marilyn. I thought she was an enormous run on debut down to Kembla Grange. Having her first start, things didn't quite go to plan. She raced in just behind the speed and looked very flat-footed once they balanced up, and looked like she was about to drop out and run last there for a minute, but with 100 metres to go, she finally picked up and darted through and was finishing best late. So 1200 will obviously suit. Get a nice claim for Rachel. I think she's a horse that Rachel will really suit well. I think the track will suit her, and but importantly the step up and the race experience.
Rosehill on Saturday. They've got to take the horses across town. What was that horse? Remember that before you got here, the Gay had that it was a Randwick horse, but she had no, it was a Rose. It wouldn't go here at Randwick, and she put it on the float one day to try and convince her that it was on a. Remember that horse?
Actually, the only reason I know that is because it was Dad's horse.
Oh, was it?
Royal Discretion.
That was it. Yeah.
He used to have a good record out at
Rosehill.
He did absolutely nothing here.
So she put on a float one day, took her for a drive for 45 minutes.
Did a few laps around, pulled him out at Randwick, good as gold, did the trick.
What about race 2 at Rosehill on Saturday? Sedanzer.
Zedanzer?
Sedanzer.
Yeah, that's her.
I always try and throw a few extra syllables in there.
She's returning great order. Really good trial going into this. Filly we thought a lot of. Last preparation, we tried to stretch her out in trip against her own age group, took her to the Oaks. Probably didn't quite work out for her, so be forgiving on her last few starts, but go back. She runs well fresh, 1400's ideal, ready to go first up.
Race 3, 2,000 metres, the former Imperial Aviator.
He's still acclimatising, learning what the Australian racing's all about, and they do take time, some of these Europeans. Biggest advantage is preparation. We've had him gelded since his last start. It's helping him take shape a lot quicker, a lot more tractable in his work and his races now, so I think we'll see a big improvement from him.
Gale's almost here at the stables on the way to work in a private jet.
Just drop it in.
What about race 5? Outstanding performance, Cabeza de Vaca.
Yeah, so much time for this horse, such an honest horse. Brilliant run first up. Form out of the race has really stood up. Supply and demand went down to Melbourne, ran a good race in the Group 3.
And what was the other thing?
Duke of Valentina come out and won the listed race at Hawkesbury. So he did a great effort to fend them off first up. You know, we thought it may have been a little bit short for him the 1400 metres first up, but he ran well fresh. That would be the only concern. Second up would just be the distance, having that good run first up, and which is why we've just put the blinkers on him for this run. But Rachel sticks with him, gets the claim again. Looks another winnable race for him.
Dark Eyes should roll to the front, barrier 1.
Should do. Look, must say, very disappointed with his run last start. I thought the quick back up, he was ready to win. He looked great. His work had been good going into that.
She's a nice filly.
She certainly is.
And the horse.
You got me there. Where were we?
Dark Eyes.
Dark Eyes. Yeah, disappointed last start. Hopefully he can bounce back. I think a few excuses. Maybe didn't appreciate the backup and the softer track that day.
The best of them at Rosehill?
Best of them, have to stick with Cabeza de Vaca. He hasn't done anything wrong. Closely followed by Zedanzer.
What about the last race in Melbourne on Saturday? The Summon Stakes. The Group 3. That's right, long time ago.
Long time ago. Got a lot of time for this mare. She's been very progressive. We've probably thrown her in the deep end straight away, a little bit quicker than what we would have liked. It would have been nice to have a progressive run or two into this race, but she is up to this standard. 1500 metres first up, again not ideal, but just sort of shows you the opinion that we have of her. Kieran McAvoy's going down to ride, a big positive. Had a couple of jump outs in Melbourne.
He's riding all right, McAvoy.
He's going super, you know. He's had a year to remember, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, with the jump outs down there, trials up here, she's nice and forward.
What's beauty?
Look, we'll stick with Cabeza de Vaca. He was good to us first up. Hasn't taken a backward step for us yet. So hopefully we're on to a good thing.
Mate, on behalf of everyone, not just Racing, all the viewers, what a carnival. Congratulations on the carnival.
Reggie, thanks
and
very much.
Many more success. Adrian Bott, Waterhouse, they were the king and the queen of the spring carnival, and they got a big weekend this weekend.